That's a great fight. That fight, it has to happen. Who else is he going to fight now? He wants to fight in Britain. Who else is there?
The fight between Canelo Alvarez and Chris Eubank Jr. is said to have been announced after Eubank Jr. beat Liam Smith in a repeat in September 2023. Since then, Eubank Jr. hasn't played and is now a commercial free agent. The British boxer has said many times that he wants to challenge for the world title. He even set up a fight with Terence Crawford, but talks fell through. Despite this, reports say that Eubank Jr. is shockingly ahead of the 168-pound champion Alvarez in the race to face him.
Apparently there's a new front-runner to fight Canelo Alvarez, and it's looking like it could be Chris Eubank Jr. They're in negotiation.
Salvador Rodriguez of ESPN says that talks are already going on, which makes him the frontrunner over other candidates like Edgar Berlanga and Jermall Charlo. Alvarez was supposed to make his annual return on September 14th, which is the weekend of Mexican Independence Day. However, this plan might be put off until a later date so that it doesn't conflict with Dana White's plans for the UFC to hold an event at the Sphere, a new venue in Las Vegas, on September 14th. Eubank Jr. has always wanted to fight the best boxers in the pound-for-pound division, but he has always lost to them. Now, he might get an unexpected chance that could take his career to a whole new level. If he brings his best, the Brit, who is known for being tough, could put on a great show and become the clear winner. The Mexican would definitely be the favorite to keep his titles, though.
Man, let's do this. You need to be tested. And you're not going to fight your Mexicans. I'm English and Jamaican, so you can fight me. It's chalk. It's very.
Discussions about Alvarez's upcoming fight have been notably subdued since the 33-year-old champion successfully protected his titles against Jaime Munguia over the Cinco de Mayo weekend. As of now, there is no training camp planned to begin before the end of the month. This means that his situation may become clear in the coming weeks. Next, Jun has never held the title of world champion in his professional career and has made it clear what his main goal is to accomplish before retiring. He has been waiting months for a fight with Conor Benn, his local rival, but it seems that we'll have to wait for the time being. A legendary boxer, Chris Eubank Sr., has said that a fight with Canelo would be the best way to protect his son's place in boxing history. He told Top Rank, "Let's get to the point. Canelo is the only person he's going to be able to fight now to reclaim any type of respect from the fighting public. Real warriors, real boxing people, I know how you win respect. It's not beating Liam Smith, although it looks like Alvarez will not be meeting his longtime nemesis David Benavidez anytime soon. Fans are eager to see him do so." In 2025, a highly anticipated clash with Crawford might materialize, depending on his victory over Eubank Jr. Saudi boxing chief Turki Alalshik has stated keen interest in hosting this momentous event. However, Eubank Sr. added, "Junior, this is what my view is. Your saving grace is going to be Canelo. You're never going to get back down to 160 pounds. I won't allow that to happen. Anyway, you're a 168 pounds fighter. Canelo is your way to win respect, and you cannot beat him, not Canelo. The only way you can beat him is if Daddy is next to you. That's it." Chris Eubank Jr. stands a good chance of being selected by Canelo Alvarez for his upcoming September bout, boosted by Dana White's decision to plan a UFC event on September 14th. Coinciding with the Mexican Independence Day weekend, Canelo might opt to delay his next fight for a few weeks to face Eubank Jr. in England this September. This matchup promises to draw a sizable crowd set against the vibrant backdrop of London, UK. While it may not fill Wembley Stadium, it's expected to sell a large number of tickets for the arena. Canelo is contemplating facing Edgar Berlanga, his WBA mandatory challenger, as another possible opponent for his next bout. The fight would ideally take place in the US around a significant holiday, possibly September 14th. However, choosing Berlanga may not be the best choice for Canelo due to various other factors. Fans are skeptical about 27-year-old Berlanga readiness for a world title shot, saying he must defeat a top-tier opponent first to prove himself. Thus far, he hasn't faced such competition. Paulie Malignaggi said, with the combination of the UFC going on Mexican Independence Day weekend, it may push Canelo out of Las Vegas. In that case, it may push the Berlanga fight away, although Berlanga doesn't rate the fight. His supporters in New York won't be happy that he won't be fighting, and Canelo shouldn't have to handle the fallout from picking him, while Canelo focuses on his bout with Eubank Jr. Berlanga's promoter, Eddie Hearn, could raise his credibility by pitting him against formidable opponents such as Caleb Plant, Jaime Munguia, David Benavidez, Christian Anili, or David Morrell Jr. Malik Nagy added that if you fight in the United States, Berlanga is the more viable opponent. He's more famous. Eubank doesn't have a lot of popularity in the US. If you go to Europe, you face Eubank in England. I could see that option opening up, and I could see where he's going with this. In September, Canelo has restricted choices for his next fight unless he considers fighters from the 160 pounds weight class, like Eubank Jr., who would be stepping up. Exploring other contenders from that league could satisfy fans without a doubt, according to Malik Nagy. England would love to have a Canelo Alvarez. To me, those boxer fans are the best in the world. Even if you were fighting their local guy, clearly they would root for Eubank, but they would still be privileged and in awe to have one of boxing's stars choose their place to fight. London presents an ideal venue for Canelo's next bout, offering a flurry of excitement and anticipation. Despite Eubank Jr. nearing the twilight of his career, fans remain eager to watch the spectacle of him facing Canelo, as per Malik Nagy. Dana White sits for nobody, Canelo sits for him. If you look at the UFC calendar, they're doing that again in September. You could see Canelo taking his act on the road to England, where he would certainly be welcomed with open arms. The English love their boxing and their superstar champions. Canelo must adjust to White scheduling events on American land during Mexican holidays to capitalize on the viewership of passionate fans while fighting a crowd favorite like David Benavidez. He could keep his September slot, but facing Berlanga, who mainly resonates in certain parts of New York City, wouldn't be as feasible. Moreover, Chris Eubank Jr. is ecstatic following his recent partnership with the boxer, foreseeing major showdowns with boxing giants like Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford, and Conor Benn. In his near future, Eubank Jr. stands as one of the contenders under Canelo's consideration for his upcoming defense of the undisputed super middleweight title in September. Should this matchup materialize, it promises to be a colossal event drawing significant attention both stateside and across the pond, likely commanding PPV crowds in the US and UK at 34 years old. Eubank Jr. stands at a crucial juncture in his career, understanding the fleeting nature of time in professional boxing, having witnessed a decline in his skills and energy since his peak years between 2015 and 2019. He faces a pressing need to secure major bouts, while his competitive edge remains. Chris Eubank Jr. will need to shift his focus away from Terence Crawford, as the undefeated Nebraskan has set his sights on boxing's ultimate prize, a showdown with Canelo Alvarez following his upcoming challenge for the WBA junior middleweight title against Israel Madrimov on August 3rd in Los Angeles. Crawford has little interest in chasing aging opponents. Eubank Jr.'s potential rematch with Billy Joe Saunders might not create as much buzz among fans. Saunders, a former two-division world champion, has been notably inactive since his lucrative fight with Canelo on May 21, showing little ambition in recent years. Saunders experienced a defeat via an 8th-round knockout and has since been absent from the ring. A potential bout between Eubank Jr. and Saunders might pique the interest of older British fans, yet it could fail to captivate the younger audience, who may see the 34-year-olds as veterans trying to capitalize on their careers before retiring from the sport. Conor Benn, the welterweight contender, isn't currently igniting the excitement of fans in the UK or globally. His recent performances following a ban have been lackluster, suggesting a decline in his former prowess despite being only 27. The buzz surrounding Benn's fights has notably diminished compared to his earlier career, showing a shift in public interest. Chris Eubank Jr. said in a press release lately that there are 4 or 5 different names out there that are mega fights that everybody wants to see. Canelo Alvarez, Terence Crawford, Conor Benn. Billy Joe has been in the industry since 2010. Canelo Alvarez has led a fight card on Mexican Independence Day weekend 8 times. Apart from a short contract dispute and the lockdown, he consistently honored this tradition yearly from 2016 to 2022 as the UFC prepares for a September 14th event at the Las Vegas Sphere, possibly featuring Conor McGregor. Alvarez seems set to relinquish the date for the second year in a row. Recently, boxing officials aware with the situation over 14 said it's up to Alvarez and Rosso how to proceed. Hall of Fame commentator and veteran cornerman Teddy Atlas stated on Deep Waters that bringing the event to London would be the strategic choice. He emphasized that the goal is to attract the largest audience, saying that if Mexican Independence Day is not an option, London should be the alternative. Alvarez, who turns 34 on July 18th, is definitely liked by Atlas as opposed to either Eubank or Berlanga. Atlas stated that the only potential challenge for Canelo is the passage of time. if Canelo starts to age and his performance declines. He noted that while Canelo is showing some signs of decline, he remains the sport's major draw with the privilege to set his own terms. According to Atlas, Eubank and Berlanga are the closest contenders, but Canelo will always have the edge because of his status as the top earner. After learning of the planned Alvarez-Eubank Jr. showdown, boxing promoter Eddie Hearn offered his take on the unexpected development. Berlanga's representative, the chairman of Matchroom Boxing, claimed the fight was just a money grab by the British in a recent interview. Hearn discussed his views on the possible super middleweight title fight with Boxing News. Hearn expressed his opinion, saying that he thinks a welterweight Conor Ben would defeat Eubank Jr. He added that although Eubank is determined, he's also wise enough to know he cannot compete with Canelo Alvarez, 168 pounds. However, Hearn accepted that if the financial incentive is significant, Eubank would take the fight and wished him luck if he managed to secure it. Meanwhile, Hearn mentioned their focus on promoting Edgar Berlanga, the WBA mandatory contender, describing him as a strong super middleweight with significant punching power, highlighting the potential for a Mexico versus Puerto Rico fight. Chris Eubank Jr. faced a devastating loss on June 7, 2021, as his younger brother Sebastian suddenly passed away from a sudden heart attack in Dubai. Sky News reported that Sebastian, unaware of his pre-existing heart disease, succumbed unexpectedly in a statement at the time. Next, Jun voiced his sorrow and said that it was the first time he had sobbed since he was 12. The former interim WBA middleweight champion posted a heartfelt memory of his brother Sebastian Eubank on X on the 3D anniversary of his tragedy. He wrote, "It's a blessing to have things in your life that make you truly happy. Messages from my nephew are some of those special things. His father passed away 3 years ago today, and Raheem makes the pain of that loss so much easier to deal with, so I thank God for him, and I pray God's watching over my brother until the day we meet again." Meanwhile, Chris Eubank Jr., in Keeson's opinion, is a more worthy rival for Saul Canelo Alvarez. After hearing about Alvarez's recent wins, Sauerland from Eubank Jr.'s promoters, Waserman, reached out to Alvarez's team to explore the possibility of tempting the Mexican fighter into another bout against a British challenger. Said, "Absolutely. Eubank, if you look at it in terms of a fight, would be a great opponent for Canelo. But I also think it's a financially very interesting fight for Canelo because Canelo will unlock the UK market. Obviously, with an opponent like Eubank, Eubank now wishes to make a bold move by taking on Canelo Alvarez, one of the greatest boxers of his generation. He believes that fighting Alvarez would be wise." He said, "Canelo goes where the money is, and I can't think of any bigger money fights than me versus Canelo, and he wants to fight in the UK. It's a big market there that people would like to see fight more than me." And Canelo Alvarez, with his trademark calculation, has his sights set on the undisputed super middleweight title. Despite the tempting potential payday, he acknowledges that securing this fight remains uncertain. He added, "It that people would like to see fight more than me." And Canelo Alvarez, with his trademark calculation, has his sights set on the undisputed super middleweight title. Despite the tempting potential payday, he acknowledges that securing this fight remains uncertain. He added, "It's not many guys there that people would like to see fight more than me." And Canelo Alvarez, with his trademark calculation, Eubank Jr. has his sights set on the undisputed super middleweight title. Despite the tempting potential payday, he acknowledges that securing this fight remains uncertain. He added, "It's hard to target him. You can't target Canelo Alvarez whenever he wants to come and fight. He'll look at the options and do what he wants." Nearly every previous rivalry, Eubank regarded himself as the aside, not against Canelo. But he added he does make the rules. He does what he wants. He moves up in weight. He comes down in weight. He holds belts in different divisions, and he does all the things that other fighters could just never do. Alvarez has triumphed over a number of British challengers ranging from Liam Smith and Amir Khan to Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders and, most recently, John Ryder. But Eubank Jr. insisted they call him the Brit Slayer, and people know I'm not going to go down without a fight. I'm not going to get in there and freeze up with the need to step back up to 168 pounds for another shot at the world title. Eubank Jr. embraces the chance with increased confidence. He stated, "I'm going to go out there and take it to him. That's what people want to see, and that's the fight he needs to be in. Whether he'll accept a fight like that is to be seen, and naturally, Eubank Jr. has a plethora of other options. Many others will be vying to box him just as he's calling for a fight with Canelo." He added, "I'm in the power position now. Everybody wants a piece. Now it's insane how fickle the sport is, but the best quote of all when it comes to boxing is you're only as good as your last fight. When I just lost, that's what I was, as good as a loser. Now I've backed it up. It was like Eubank's on his way out. He's done. We're never going to hear from him again. And now I'm the no one guy." Meanwhile, it appears that if Canelo faces Eubank Jr. next, It may well be very helpful for Terence Crawford in the not-too-distant future. Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh hopes to host a super fight between Canelo and Crawford and Riyadh in preparation for his August 3rd fight in Los Angeles against WBA super welterweight champion Israel Madrimov. But is training with Al-Sheikh, if he comes from that battle unscathed, a highly anticipated matchup with Canelo might follow. The fight is planned to happen in neither December or January, according to Al-Sheikh. Eubank Jr. is emerging as the leading contender to face Canelo in his upcoming September bout, with Edgar Berlanga also being viewed as a viable alternative. Crawford, who trains with Eubank Jr., will be hoping Canelo picks the former.
That they're in talks, and Eubank is the front runner for this fight. Front runner, bro. We could actually get big collars and Canelo Alvarez across the table from each other. And I'll be honest.
I'll be honest. I want it. I want the fight. I want it.
Prior to his own meeting with the Mexican superstar, Eubank Jr. will be able to provide the American with a wealth of inside information if he wins the fight. Trainer of both guys, Brian Beaumac McIntyre will profit from developing a plan to take on Canelo twice in a row. Beaumac has been Crawford's trainer for his whole professional career. In September of last year, he trained Eubank Jr. In preparation for Crawford's fight with Liam Smith. Eubank Jr. has frequently switched trainers, having trained with a number of coaches, including Roy Jones Jr. and Ronnie Davies, Adam Booth and his own father, Chris Eubank. However, his impressive comeback under McIntyre, where he effectively dismantled Smith after a crushing stoppage loss 8 months earlier, underscores Beaumac's suitability for the role, ensuring he will once again lead for his upcoming bout.
We do what we do, bro. Yeah? And we can't even stay too long for the rest of the pod, but hear this, yeah? What did Eubank Sr. say that Junior needs to do to redeem himself, in his eyes? Of all the things that was on the table, the Conor Ben fight was floating around, he said, if he fights Canelo Alvarez, he'll have my respect.
As contenders like Chris Eubank Jr. that their eyelashes at Canelo in hopes of securing a September bout, the undisputed super middleweight champion is already looking ahead to a possible super fight next May, regardless of whether Eubank is chosen over Jermall Charlo or Andrew Berlanga. Canelo Alvarez is focused on his annual Cinco de Mayo fight. Next year he aims to face Terence Crawford on Mexico's most important public holiday. That could disappoint David Benavidez and many fans who were expecting an exciting Mexican showdown, but there would be immense interest in a matchup between two pound-for-pound all-time greats. Crawford is clearly the standout welterweight of our time, but stepping up to face a fully fledged super middleweight would be a monumental challenge. Known for his natural southpaw stance and amazing precision, his accuracy is unmatched in the boxing world today. Beginning with a jab, he follows through by sinking a left into the middle before unleashing a powerful right hook capable of knocking your head clean off. Crawford possesses a rare ability to consistently hit 3 or 4 punches with maximum power, a feat few can achieve, unlike many skilled fighters who use the first 2 shots as setup punches. Crawford performs each blow with maximum force, distinguishing him from his peers.
7 to 168. In the win, become undisputed. Wow.
I want to go up to 68. So who would you fight at 68? Canelo?
If he win, or
Wow.
Charlo, the winner.
Wow. That would be crazy.
I want to be 3-time undisputed.
He's a combatant with several facets. It would be fascinating to watch how he handles Canelo's vigor and forcefulness. Canelo isn't known for his speed, but he packs a powerful punch, keeps good balance, and can absorb hits well. He typically overwhelms opponents with his combinations, but facing Crawford will take a different approach. Outboxing isn't likely to work against Crawford, so Canelo will need to adopt a more aggressive strategy, trying to hunt him down and assert dominance. However, no one has successfully executed this against Crawford yet. Nevertheless, it's a major victory for Crawford, who has never faced a foe as strong and dangerous as Alvarez. Crawford can, though, if anyone can. The allure lies in watching two Hall of Famers in a catchweight bout reminiscent of fights that were once commonplace a century ago. Go. Truthfully, I couldn't predict with certainty who might win. Victorious, and that's the beauty of it. Terence Crawford seems to have abandoned his chase of the undisputed title across 3 divisions, opting out of what could have been a lucrative showdown against Saul Canelo Alvarez for the 168-pound super middleweight title. Recently, Canelo himself dismissed his name, arguing the weight difference was too significant now, but has shown reluctance to move up a division, stating he won't force a fight as the mandatory challenger no matter the circumstances. If Crawford had fought in the 1980s, he likely would have risen through the ranks quickly, much like Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard did. He would have defeated all contenders, earning himself a shot against the top Mexican fighters. However, Canelo continues to overlook him, leading Crawford to seemingly lose hope.
Need to take that fight because then everybody's gonna say it's too small, it's too small, it's too small, and then, you know, he need to enjoy his fight.
Many pundits assume that Crawford simply wants to move up from welterweight in pursuit of a lucrative retirement payday, aiming to do so quickly without showing that his skill remains at its peak despite a significant pound-for-pound earnings opportunity. Canelo also moved up to welterweight, but unlike Bout, he successfully beat top-tier opponents like David Morrell Jr. and Caleb Plant. To reach this level, Crawford should prioritize facing similar caliber opponents first rather than seeking favors from Canelo at this time. Crawford doesn't pose a real threat to the Mexican fighter. Any victory over him would likely be credited to the substantial weight difference between them. In addition, but is 36 years old, past his prime, and wanting large sums of money to cement his legacy. A fight versus Jiren Boots Andes, in his own division, in the opinion of some experts, is more likely unless he thinks it too dangerous for him. Another possible adversary could be Chris Eubank, though Brian McIntyre, trainer of the undisputed welterweight champion, strongly dismissed it as fake news. Crawford would be making a major step as he attempts to establish himself in new divisions, but McIntyre thinks Eubank Jr. is just playing along with the current trend, and there hasn't been any talk about this fight.
I like Spence, but you know, I like Spence and all the respect for him and everything, but I knew. I think is the type of fight Terence Crawford is different. 168, but like I say, nobody's gonna give me credit for that.
Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you like this one.